do the pledge of allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If anybody wants to say a prayer, you're welcome to it. Over here in public hearing on our master utilities, and I'll try to keep this on track. I'd like to accelerate if possible to do it right. So we've entertained a few things on maybe a little bit of way of finances it, but I know FB's got something on their head. All we got is SIDC and you guys. Who wants to?
I'll start us out and then I'll turn it over to her to present if that's okay.
Would you care to come up here?
I will.
Because I think it's only going to run off the computer speaker over there.
Okay.
Laptop.
I've got a record too, so I'm going to stick it here for the whole time. That's okay. I'm Michelle Jericho. I'm with the Southern Indiana Development Commission. Can everyone hear me okay? Because I do talk soft enough. I do need to state a couple things, but first I would like to start around a sign-in sheet for the public hearing, specifically for everyone to sign in, please, just for the hearing.
Wait, like you were good. You better do that.
Okay.
Nancy.
Here.
Gary, I'm here, Alex here. So I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I do need to state a few things for the public hearing tonight. It is June 9th, 2026. It is approximately 5:04 p.m. here at the Elnora Town Hall. Hearing itself, it was advertised in compliance with Indiana Code 5-3-1. It was advertised in the Open Journal on May 27th, 2026. The purpose of the meeting is to offer citizens the opportunity to express their views on community development and past housing needs and also the proposed project, which consists of obtaining grant funds to perform a master utility study for the water wastewater.
Not probably.
All right. Specifically, the study evaluated the condition and effectiveness of the water, wastewater, and stormwater utilities in terms of their condition for the present and future requirements of the systems. The plan provided recommendations and cost estimates for upgrades and improvements to the utilities to eliminate any deficiencies that are currently in the system. The estimated total cost of the proposed study was $100,000. The grant amount requested was $90,000, and the local match provided by the town of Elnora was $10,000. The match came from the town utility operating fund. The estimated cost included the study of the master utility plan by Police and Abandon Brink, and also the grant administrations of the project by SIDC. Notice placement will occur as a result of the project. At this time, I'd like to turn the meeting over to Lori and Alex to present the findings and recommendations of the plan.
I'm not working,
Okay.
so I was just,
All right, I'll start over here.
Good evening. I'm Lauren Young. I'm an engineer with the Abandon Brink. I also have Elizabeth Carter. So we're here to present the studies tonight. Thank you to the town for the opportunity and for the operators and the team over time that we've worked with to better understand the system. Elizabeth's got a few, we have not for everybody, but this is what we're going through tonight. So I'll talk through it. I'm going to go over things at a pretty high level tonight because we've been at several meetings, I think, over the last year, pricing Bill Curry, the Cowboys, and local team. And so as we work through different alternatives and financial options, so in the last couple months, it's been a bigger thing. So anyway, just want to kind of go over the overall goals for this project. It's been to develop a tool for the town for planning purposes, to kind of be able to look near-term and long-term needs, and goals for the utilities. With the Oprah grant, they kind of set out some criteria and it's really kind of a very specific set of guidance of things that they are to be reviewed through the process. So it's looking at the current conditions and current needs, so in terms of drinking water and wastewater, what your current flows, average flows, does that your systems produce, can you produce that much water with your water treatment plant and your wastewater treatment plant to treat it? Looking at what's your current population, those flows, what are projected future growth, and trying to discern that within the next 20 years, larger facilities or not. And so, the growth projection wasn't high for Elnora, so really, generally, we did project some modest growth, but not doubling in size or anything over the next 20 years. Again, this is a living document, ideally, so we don't have a crystal ball today that says what your growth is going to be in 20 years. Or it'll be 5 times the size in 20 years, or the size. So what's important is that as time goes on, that you're monitoring, what are we doing? Are we seeing changes or precipitating growth? Currently, the best information we have is not really indicating that there would be great growth. But again, those things can change and policy things happen. There's potential, but it doesn't make sense to plan for a lot of growth that's not with us. There's no reason to make that happen.
What percentage are we using of what you're doing?
This is our average. I don't know if we have that information, like average day water pumpage versus total. We've got the full copy of the DER where we built it in, and I think we have, I believe we've got that. I know we have that in there. So for drinking water is where I'm going to start. We have two water supply wells. We have 360,000 gallons per day treatment capacity and 125,000 gallons elevated water storage. There's about 12 miles of water meters. Part of the work that we did was updating mapping and GPS your water main valves, hydrants, meters, and updating your mapping so that counter pressure and more information. Also the sanitary sewer animals, people like that data as well. So just kind of we have that.
Yeah, you asked for the average. And for 2025, it was just about 37,000 gallons.
So your water usage, your water pumpage to the town is under 40,000 gallons a day average. And so your treatment plant certainly have greater capacity than that. If you were running at full capacity 24/7, you could produce up to 360,000 gallons a day. So I'm going to talk about the recommendations. So for your water, so we submitted the draft study to Oprah back in January, and really since January, probably March is I think when it really gets into Oprah issues, maybe February, March timeframe. Anyway, so the filter media kind of used up all of those.
Well, I don't want that to stop. We got it.
Yeah, no, I'm just mentioning it as part of the water utility.
No, I'm just,
Yeah,
we gotta go on.
Yeah, no, I wanted to mention it, but anyway. So the water treatment improvements that were also identified were SCADA, the supervisory controls, it's definitely an outdated system. We need to upgrade it because it's, yeah, that's not, no longer supported. Windows 7 is no longer supported. The systems and components are outdated, so it's really hard to replace them. And so SCADA is just something that, you know how technology works. Computers get older and at some point you just have to replace them, and that's really, you know, where that is.
So are we talking like new plans?
No, no. No, just the SCADA system is just the components that kind of help it talk to, well, talk to the treatment plant, the filters, and the monitoring.
Okay.
Yeah. So that is one of the major needs. The filter meter replacement, which has been discussed several times recently, is needed. There's two alternatives that have been looked at. We have currently what's called a mixed media sand filter or anthracite. There's another type of media that's called a green sand, which kind of typical crazy for that, which is has the benefits of manganese, which is one of the constituents that causes staining in the water. And another goal with the filter media replacement is to be able to eliminate potassium permanganate. The town's kind of struggling with that potassium permanganate, and that's resulted in increased some water quality problems for the other things that had another item that came up more recently was condition of the chlorine analyzer for the water treatment plant. Environmental they recommended that as it would help reduce your people having coming on the ends and their record keeping for total chlorine. We have, I believe, a free chlorine analyzer now, but the total chlorine analyzer was an addition that we talked about last month.
And we passed the 71
Yeah.
in the project here. I mean, the plant was built with it in mind, unless we can really see the reason not to do the project. That is design and enforcement.
With respect to the analyzer.
And like I said, we're going to have to pay somebody on the weekends and holidays to read that, but we do have to report to the state free and
I think we have a free chlorine analyzer now that continues to move forward, so this is the addition of the second one.
Can I ask a question? When was this facility built, the water plant?
It was 2014. Water meter replacement is another item. Water meter replacement is kind of an ongoing thing for all water utilities. And I think the town is experiencing battery dying and having to go out and replace manual meters.
We've got some problems in there, there's some problems with these that we're getting better, but we gotta get in there and do more, okay? So we're, that's, I mean, we talk about big cost, not needed. It's gonna be a big cost, right?
Well, so I think one of the things that we looked at is if you replace about 25 meters a year annually, that's not a big chunk, and that's also a big pace that we do it with because they have a 10 to 12 year life of the meter. So the meters are the cash registers in the water system, you know, that's where you're making sure that you're catching all the water that's being used. So it is critical to your operation to make sure that you're minimizing your loss of water. But I wouldn't recommend that you go out and replace every meter at one time. I think what the recommendation is really go on an annual basis between 20
treated the ground well for the iron bacteria. The new standard.
And the wells require maintenance, and they have to be well cleaned, well screened, and it's required over time to maintain the capacity of your water production. So those are all, you know, you can't get away, but that's where you keep your plant good operations to maintain. And like the filter media is kind of got to be 12-year life, so you can just have that point where it's time for the filter media to be in place. So some of the other project alternatives that we looked at, water distribution system,
Usually,
something called looping of water mains. So out in the distribution system, and we've got a map that we showed. These are not recommended today. They're just as we look at your 20-year needs. You've got some dead ends in the water mains.
yeah, but a couple of the water lines we could never loop around in the, but everything along Highway 58 is really perfect. So south is looped about 5-6 years ago. Where else do we have?
We had identified a potential out by the church barn. You've got two dead ends near your largest water users.
How would we do
We can show you on that, of how we do that. We're not recommending this today. You know, this is a planning setting for the long-term needs. These were two dead ends in an area of your largest user, so that was a reason to consider it. I'm not saying that it's something you have to do today, but it's, as we look at the system, there's some benefits to that. There's also some asbestos in that water mains that were installed early 1970s. There's kind of a, I mean, they're serving fine now, but
the Estes line?
yeah.
They would put it in 30
Okay.
That's when that CC,
CCC program.
but I don't know we got very many of that. But, yeah, I was shocked because I didn't understand it. I don't, you know, today they give them food plastic and stuff.
Yeah.
But they was putting one more time. I was surprised it's still working.
Yeah, the prices on cast iron was back at $35. Anyway, irregardless, it's just kind of on the, I think they're identified on the map, get the water in the map, so you know where they are, it's kind of
Pretty well.
progressive. And then replacing the service line, to be considered long-term, service line, is a section of water main, to water user, that's the portion of town lines, residence homes, or leaving it back to the house. But, just over time, with age, different service lines can change. The next sheet, I just went ahead and included, because I know it's been a hot topic, recently, and it also ties back into the conversation with Sean at the last meeting on last week. So, Fine and Daniel, when we worked to get quotes for different alternatives, and the first quote she got with Water Solutions was looking at doing the green sand filter media replacement. And Water Solutions had gotten partnered with another company that gave them a price to do the replacement media. And that was pretty expensive, labor cost was pretty expensive. And so she also looked for another quote from Bassin Local to just do the media replacement using the green sand media provided by Water Solutions. So what I listed here is kind of the three quotes I would say that we have right now. And you probably already have this information, but I thought it was somewhat pertinent. Because the first one, you know, $115,000, which is a lot. Bassin Logan's price to replace your media with light media was $39,600. So that, you know, it's a big difference. But then Wendy was able to get a price from Bassin Logan to just remove the media and install media provided by Water Solutions. So that price is about $48,500. So
The media,
the media plus the installation. So that made it was putting your total project budget beyond what you could do with the 10-year national rural water loan plus a local bank. That was putting you in the category where you're gonna have to go to Indiana Bond Bank, which is more expensive. It's a 20-year loan or instead of a 10-year. So while you would maybe save $5 a month on rates, you're making it over 10 years longer. And I just felt like if there's a way to fit into the budget that you could use the national rural water 10-year loan program, in my opinion, that would be the best value for the town. And I think you've got that option now with either, however you want to do the filter media. Both options require pre-chlorination. When you say you have the pre-chlorinating equipment there, I mean, it just needs to, but when you skate it, you could add the controls and it's going to be better.
And what was that, 348,000?
So that is a combination of water solutions providing the filter media and that's the loading, taking out the old media and then installing new media. So it's kind of broken down between two different, one supplier and one.
But it'd be a lot cheaper for the town.
Yeah. It's the first price that Water Solutions, the partner that they have worked with on the labor, and Water Solutions said that their price is really high and encouraged them looking for different options.
Yeah. Okay,
I think either one of these two options are better. Do you have questions?
No,
So I updated this cost estimate on the next page to show, we talked about SCADA improvements. The town had gotten some quotes late last year, and I think I shared this spreadsheet with you. I just went ahead and attached all the other things that you've got to have from the different contracts. But anyway, the SCADA upgrades are approximately $125,000. The filter media replacement, if you went with the green sand and the Vaseline installation, was roughly $50,000. I think the chlorine analyzer was about 12 to 15,000. 12, okay. I put 15 in because I didn't miss it, but
they said it was simple, basically, this was just take the same one.
same line.
Pipes or
So anyway, that estimated construction cost is about $190,000. And if you budget 20% for contingency, what that is there's unforeseen. And I do recommend that you budget that because when you go to remove all that filter media, there's a chance that there may need to be some extra work done on your filter, underground and so forth. So hopefully you don't need it, but I would hate for you to go into it without any contingency fund. So anyway, that total construction cost is about $230,000. Non-construction, the only thing we had in here was for engineering to have help with the SCADA system and work for that. So you're at about $240,000 roughly. And then on the funding options, from what Sean said, with national water, you can get up to $200,000 through that loan program. That was 10 years at 3.125%.
lot change, financing.
It depends on if the total amount is under $200,000.
live in town?
Yes, I do. I live right there at the corner.
If you can, would you sign it?
I did.
Yeah, one other thing though, and I'm not trying to be positive or anything, are you working with Jeff on some of this stuff?
Jeff Farmer. You know, through earlier in the process, we worked with his team, you know, when we were developing options. I haven't talked to Jeff in the last month, but I know Jeff, I'm happy to talk to him. I talked to Wendy a few times regarding building roads.
Well, he's probably got ideas, he operates quite a bit of stuff, and I'm open to his recommendations in any way, and I just wonder,
Yeah, I talked to him
kind
quite
of
a bit.
keep him abreast of maybe you guys have the conversation and,
Oh, yeah, no problem with that, yeah. I know Jeff is more heavily wastewater operator, and his team does drinking water, so I've talked to him about drinking water on several different things. But yeah, I'm happy to talk to Jeff. Yeah. Any questions on drinking water items that we discussed?
Like the current drinking water or what you just discussed?
Well, I was specifically talking about what I presented, but if there's something that,
Well, I'm concerned with the water, the drinking water. If it's brown, that's very alarming. And I grew up on a 10-acre farm. I drink out of the water hose, so I know how this rolls. That is not good for our citizens. It's not good for our children at schools, or the elderly for that matter. So that is a huge concern on what is in the water.
did you realize it's tested every day? Our water system and sewer.
Well, I'm sure it is.
And if they was something, it's terrible. I mean, I would actually, anybody, we're trying to do our best, we're wasting a lot of money in town, back try to get all that out. So I mean, we're trying to get this done, that's why I said we can't wait for the meeting and we'll analyze it until we get the construction. But as far as safety, I can't say, I mean, the IDM and the state would be on us.
Who do you have test the water?
define the dam as their contract operator.
So if I took a glass of water from my house to a microbiologist and they found something in there that you guys didn't find, that would be a huge alarm, right?
Yeah, we take anything, but anytime we go into a boil order, we have to take anything testing.
Well, I don't drink water anyway, so.
But yes, I'm concerned with it, we're trying to do our best. But, we gotta get IDN to OKSU to make it understand. Because I also believe the less we have to put in that water, like acid and manganese, to get rid of that magnesium.
I see your point of view, I do, but I do think the media, putting the media in, is going to be, as far as financially for this town, that's going to probably be our best option.
What about this thing?
I just thought that's what you said, you were waiting on.
I think, so that the meeting in there, for clarification, if they switch to a green fan media, they need to get a permit from IDM, which is a change in technology.
Okay.
If they just replace the mixed media filter material that they have now as is, it's just a maintenance issue. But I wouldn't expect it to be a real long time to get that from IDM, so I think it's something that Southern Town wants to do and file a permit, so it could be, I think you could have a conversation with them ahead of time to say, is there any reason you wouldn't approve it, and you could be ordering them?
I usually put in that.
Yeah,
And the water's pure, we don't need to add anything else, but not in the water, you know, that's just something about that.
yeah, I know how to do all of that.
We ain't proud of it.
But
We need to do it better.
The human body is made up of 65% water, so that's very important for everyone. So, I think it's a good thing. That's just my opinion. So,
yeah, I think with the social media and getting the pre-coordination set up, operating effectively will definitely help improve the situation. But it's one of the filters is out of operation now, so there's only the two filters. Unfortunately, the demand is a nutrition limit.
The other thing I was gonna ask you about, did you guys look at the tanks? You know, we clean them out, we see where the water is. I know we can put like a whole hatch down there or something where we can get in there when we do it. Bring in a check.
We had a way to, I thought that there was some piping in place that she was able to drain those things a little without coming back now. But that's probably a question that we talk to Jeff about.
Because if we could do as much we could probably do it pretty close to ourselves.
Yeah, yeah.
We
Drain
blow
it
that out,
regular maintenance.
offset it.
Part of the maintenance.
So, yeah, when you have an idea when you get it,
No, I mean, if that's something that you want us to do, we can do that.
Was it already under what we've already paid or?
No, that's what, at that last meeting, I thought that on call agreement, and I emailed that, so, we just not, because of that.
that's the best I can see.
Those are probably, approvals,
It's just a resolution.
resolution to
Well,
approve.
we're going to do that so the next meeting.
But we need to get that community work. I thought it was applied for.
Now, I didn't get my.
No, it's got to be.
I don't
So, iron that.
They can do that?
I mean, we can, yeah.
How much would it cost us to get that applied?
You know, I'm not going to give you a number right now. I can see something. I need to see what they have got. But, you know, it's probably under $3,000.
We didn't go on the vote on board at the next meeting. We got to, I thought it was already done.
Okay, anything else on water or your wastewater? Yeah. I can give you one. Is that okay? I'll give you mine for that. Sorry. If I do it, I'll just take it. Okay, next we're gonna go to wastewater utility and talk about that. So, their existing system has about 7 miles of gravity sewers, about 2 miles of force main, 7 lift stations, so the lift station pumps in force main to get to the wastewater. We have 138 manholes, and the wastewater treatment plant is 100,000 gallons a day, designed, has designed capacity. So the wastewater treatment plant is older, and there were a number of things, and we did through this process, talk to my manager, operators, there about their needs, treatment plans
the VFD, is that put it in where they're not in the lift stations or?
The VFD would be in the panel.
I know what it
I'm
is.
sorry.
I'm saying, why do we need the VFD? They're not in the panels now?
They
Or
don't
we
have
got
VFDs.
some bad ones?
They don't have them. I believe that those lift stations don't have VFDs. They're just single phase pumps and they're less than 5.
No.
No, just those two small grinder pump stations. Just the two. This one has a leather.
Now, you're not counting the lift station out here. It's on Highway 58.
Yeah.
You are counting?
Yes, that's one of the seven.
We don't use it.
Right. It's,
There's nobody out there, the plant is.
right, you only have like one manhole. Or is it?
It's not, I don't think it's very low.
Yeah. I think it's very minimally used, yeah.
Uh,
It's very minimally used, yeah. You don't have to.
What number is that?
See, this is just, sorry, I'm gonna do over here. Last case.
See, we used to have some houses that have a house out there in Pleasant Park, but there's nothing. That I know of that's out there now. And I hate to spend a lot of money on it, and not use it at all.
Yeah, right, that's,
Uh,
no, I agree. This is the one I think that you're referring to. This, lift station 6, plus highway 58.
yeah, it's 58.
Then the other recommendation was to do pure televising of the collection system overall, which is beneficial in terms of asset management planning, in terms of finding ionized sources, development conditions, everything. So I think back February, January, February, there was discussion town wanted to look at potentially pursuing an SRF fund loan and overdraft. So you're not at all required to do that, but you have done, taken the steps that would put the town in position to be able to do that. So the planning study, the PDR for wastewater was submitted to SRF, I remember approved the application, we submitted the SRF application. And it was for, but not ranked, it was just, you know, we knew it would be a high priority. It's not under any board or anything. These are really a lot of rehabilitation maintenance projects. However, if, and I don't think this is a priority now, maybe, but you are still in a position to pursue it if you wanted to shut your top and more about those steps if there's something you wanted to pursue.
You know, the other thing, work on the gravity from the east, west of the highway on Main Street, where we had that problem this year. Grabbed it and cracked it or something, and it all cut the tree roots. And it blocked those into the house. And we had to check it quickly and keep it going. And that's the one, I mean, usually a tree is kind of crack.
Especially in Clay Pile.
It's an Indian street running with quarter cars and stuff like that. So I didn't know if you would look at that when you did,
Yes, but,
sure.
yeah, that would be certainly a priority with sewer televising in town, look at those areas and identify, you know, what should be lined or replaced.
When we live in there with the river water, we're on 75 foot of gravel, right? So when that river's high, we're full of water, we're here.
Groundwater's high.
They usually just matter a few inches of the water. That makes it harder for us.
Grinders, stuff like that.
No, the grinders wouldn't make a difference on that. It's really more of, I'm sorry, the headwork that would come into the plant.
Yeah, it wouldn't help with the excess flow. It would just help to protect your plant downstream, your pumps, and everything downstream. So, because there's a lot of maintenance issues that happen when you have those drain situations.
Grind up plastic and towels and
Yeah.
things like that. They're in the list.
But yeah, so the headwork screen is the plan of your plant operations. So the wastewater improvement project is really a recommendation of PBR of about $2.8 million. I think one of the components of that was to do the sewer televising as part of an early funding. You may remember there's been discussion that those containment evidence, and they had sent out a kind of a schedule that had on anticipation that it began funding to do sewer televising, design, and then on closing, that was when we closed on SRF. So anyway, ideally, you do the televising, and we did adjust the projects a little bit based on those additional sewer we have. There is a schedule in here, and I say it's a concept schedule, okay? This is based with Okra, Brad is on, but with Okra funding and the town qualified for Okra grant money, and you would, in 2027, I announced about 800,000, you would qualify for it. The way you have to apply for that, at least the way Okra is doing it right now, there's a spring round that you can apply for if you don't need ESRA funds for a project that's probably $1 million to $1.3 million range. That's the thing. So, right. And then if you want to do a bigger project, SRF goes in. So if you don't want to pursue it this year in 2026, you could plan for 2027 to be pursuing that over grant. So basically, this schedule on this slide right here, if you want to pursue it next year.
I want to get Sean back with me to
Sure.
do all that.
Yeah. Yeah.
See where everything on his list is going.
And I think he's looked at these numbers, some of the stuff that he was looking at earlier, the bond issue. So, yeah, absolutely talk to Sean some more about it.
Where did you say the $800,000 is coming from?
Okra, it's the Office of Community and Rural Affairs.
Okay.
And it is a competitive grant application.
Right.
Also. Yeah. So, Rick, you want to hit some more?
Have you got another copy of this?
You can read this copy. We can send it to you. We can email it
Yeah,
to
we
you.
Okay. Any questions on wastewater before I go on? So look at stormwater now. We evaluated the system, so there's about 8 miles of drainage, so that's running along the roadways all across town, about 8 miles across Elnora. We've got 109 culverts and storm pipes, and then 25 are storm structures. So that's like grade inlets, things usually at the grade level that are letting the rainwater run off across town. So we evaluated everything across town. We have a couple recommended alternatives that we consider the PBR. One of which being establishing a stormwater utility. So this will be a fee that utility users would pay monthly. Now, I believe the minimum requirement would be $5 per month per utility user.
And that's really associated with Okra grant funds, so if you were to apply for an Okra grant for a stormwater project, it's a
get points, and it's all sports, so in order to get points, your rate would need to be at least $5 a month.
Just have sustainability.
I think the average stormwater utility fee is kind of in the $5.50, $5.60, I forget, it's like just a little bit over $5, yeah. And Sean has talked about that stormwater utility before, so.
Yeah, that's Lord said us to just help maintain and show that we are, thinking good money towards maintaining positions yearly and contribute money toward repairs or regulations. The next we came up with was ditching improvements, so that would be reestablishing some of those ditch lines across town, just to allow some of that rainwater to channel down into those ditches and flow off both roadways and properties effectively. And along with that will come with some culvert replacement and flared end replacement, so that all along those ditch lines we repair, we're also going to see the culvert here as well.
Just a little follow-up on that. As you've experienced, over time, erosion happens and those ditches just sort of form the sediment, so they lose capacity, the culverts fill in. A lot of times the culverts have been put in over many years, and sometimes they're smaller. So I think we have minimums like 12-inch culvert size, possible sections to try and help restore drainage. To go to a pipe system, it's a whole lot more expensive, and so that was why we did, piping the whole town, catch basin. That's a much more expensive way to go.
I have a big problem with our sewer system. It's a fact. Indianapolis keeps growing. Put more water down this river and Fort Harvest and flood it out. We do it too.
Yeah, I agree.
And I don't know why the citizens don't want that for all of us. Could that not be used as points?
Well,
Get some
I think that probably in Project B, I don't know, Michelle, how you can kind of emphasize that, there's factors contributing beyond just the town of Elnora that are affecting.
Right, I mean, we would tell the story of the situation.
We
We tell the story of the situation and how some of it has occurred and all, to show that need. But they're really gonna look at sustainability around the area, what's currently being done, what's supposed to be done, and what you intend to do in the future.
We can have the most perfect drainage system, but that river is too big to accept it. It'll accept this town. I've worked with the flooding of this town since 1980. And I just hate to see we carry the costs all the time. It's really a problem. The FEMA is with a minute, but they don't make enough of pain. It's in Indianapolis. And imagine 1 acre of water and asphalt, no longer the water penetrates. It's safe. You can watch our river. I watch it every time. You look on the computer, see when we're going to crash, when we're not going to crash. And our biggest backup is from Indianapolis. It's expensive.
Well, and it also affects the farmers and, when it floods, they have to replant, that's not cheap.
I know, I've been talking to them.
Yeah, rainfall intensity, I think we've seen some, really intense rainfalls that cause a lot more flooding more recently, whether that's cyclical or not, but,
It could happen since really.
yeah, if it
Or when rainfall hit this like that. But I just feel like Indianapolis is gaining all the good stuff for building plants and factories.
or even Bloomington.
Well, most of Bloomington does not really use one.
I couldn't say that for sure. I will
I
say
think
that,
most, not all of them.
I think in recent years, the cities have tried more earnestly to put in place stormwater quality and stormwater retention efforts. But I understand that you're still getting,
it's not really over Plainville, Hazleton,
Right.
down there where both rivers meet, that farmland just destroyed them.
Yeah.
But I think that maybe if we could start talking to our representatives and people who are concerns, maybe we could get a little something to help us. I mean, I've seen when water was running right across the things from we had Marines in here, really wonderful. The fire departments came in, dollars to do it.
Is that the big floods of 2008?
Yeah. Oh, I got pictures.
People
People was faxing me, but I'm sorry about that, but I mean, should we try to contact our representatives?
I believe so, absolutely.
I'm sorry for interrupting, but I mean, I just feel that's the injustice.
And I'll go on to that, just with, while we were looking at the integrity of some of our structures we've got around here, and some of those great inlets especially, we want to be able to have water go flow into where it needs to go, especially those at grade level inlets. So we've got a couple of streets across town that we were recommending some great inlet replacement, be able to reestablish those grates on top and then reestablish the border. We've done a lot of border stuff.
Some of the structures are just in poor condition. I'm sure you've seen some of the catch basins that need to be replaced. And some holes in the pipes that rusted out.
Because that, can we do that in a
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
we're gonna have a lot of stuff going on.
Right. Yeah, that's part of the kind of planning. And I think that's kind of the town's decision next is what order you want to pursue things. Like with Okra, you can have two brands over that.
One has to be under construction before you can apply for another one.
So, but I don't think the water project will be you don't need Okra grant funds for drinking water, the filter media and SCADA. But if you wanted to pursue wastewater or stormwater, I think you can decide which one's a higher priority.
Yeah, we're sure the sewer is what we can take.
Moving on to that fourth one down. Just while we were looking across town and looking where some ponding kind of occurred more frequently, most of the northeastern section of Elnora does not have a lot of storm infrastructure. Almost just very minimal ditch lining. We've seen some ponding up there. We were reviewing some complaints from homeowners, and so within our suggestion of the project, we included establishing some of those ditch lines.
What's the,
It was a long, yeah, I think that's. We had structure to go out to the virtual.
Comfortable chairs.
Mercury State, that's north.
Right, this is the northeast section, yeah.
I don't even think the drains out there is Mercury State.
We have, there's a map where we have, my map for how you're getting it.
I think we went a couple of years before.
Couple inches where.
Above North Street, the school, that would go out to, isn't that right there?
Sorry, I'm like listening.
North of town, draining to the Mercury State, and be pretty hard for that ditch to go in. Unless we could get it out of Cherokee over to the median.
You have to be active.
You're saying north of town. Okay, what
One
gives
from the canal, that you built Cherokee is filled in. They would have to go any water north of town, we have, where we go to the sea.
the water in Cherokee goes out to the floodgate from the left? What you're talking about being filled in.
The ditch on the canal going north and east is still in behind the swell.
Yeah. It has been,
Actually, due for a long time. It's still in behind the
I mean, if you'd ever open up again, it'd have to have a flood gate. But it's also filled in at that North Street crossing at the railroad track, so that culvert there is
Yeah,
closed for
they're
many,
right.
many years.
It's also where we keep talking about.
Yeah, the North Street, right there, the railroad track, there used to be a culvert under that road there. They filled it in about 30, 40 years ago.
There's nothing really over in that area.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, when I was over there, they literally cleaned out the canal all the way from, from there all the way.
What do you say on that area?
There's not really any ditch line established as well in this area of town. So we would redirect some of the runoff flows to this way. That would then work its way out to the bridges here.
This is,
It's red, that's kind of your ditch lines here.
now here's all farming. And have to do it out there. Probably drain that, right? And then also, there's floodgates out there. When it's flooding, it wouldn't be any good. You see what I'm saying? It's all crap, this is all farmland to the levee out there. So, and how would you probably, yeah, get that out of there?
Well, we would slope a lot of this, so it's all going to flow with additional measures established. So there would be a grade on these ditch lines that would allow it to travel exactly how we get that flow to the lake constructed to get out there.
And those are alternatives, and that was the last alternative, I think. I don't know,
They just lost this area of the street.
And that's not officially what it works out in that Cherokee, the levees around there, and the water just comes up, it's up in there, and it's cracked. But if you open up the floodgates, you have to let water. So, I'd like to see what you guys do with it. Because I don't think we can put down there in that water.
Well, you think with them putting 969 in, the state would step in and, but they don't work that way.
They don't even help the fire department since we have to do a lot more. That's kind of the wild thing about it.
But they still want to eat, right? But they still want to eat, right?
Yeah, we have projects I'd like to see down there along the highway. It's not even ours, not even ours.
Yeah, I thought about stepping out there one night in front of the semi and see how fast he blocked those brakes up that night.
But we can see everything comes through there as water. Actually, the south has some major water.
Yeah, and I think that the ditching improvements are kind of all throughout town.
Well, the question I got
can't control the river, and even if you're pumping, you know, like, in that sense, it's not gonna eliminate that.
Just like that picture that you had in here, the river level's probably up.
Yeah, so there's extreme flooding, you know, there's really high level events, but we also want to be able to just manage the normal rainfall events, you know, to be able to convey water so that you're not getting economy just during your average.
I even took pictures last fall of how water collected in the river. So, I mean, that's a hot topic about managing this stuff with a lot of people. Dan's been helping over the years.
He's our flood coordinator.
And I think that the survey that was done early on and people responded, we've got that information in the PDR too about flooding areas. There's mapping that shows kind of common areas. And so there is, we talked about it a little bit at prior meetings. I think we've come to run out of time and haven't maybe talked about stormwater as much as some of the other things. But I know we've kind of gotten a high level here, but we can certainly, if you have any questions, you can follow up items we can talk about.
Just looking at that last alternative there, that fifth one. We just kind of looked at, there's a culvert running from Meridian to Ida Street, and that structure has been just, the culvert filled in, so the riprap has not been able to withstand anymore, and the water is not flowing properly as it runs off. We then convey off site, so we're just getting a little uncomfortable there as well. And we don't want that to contribute to the cemetery as well.
Yeah, that's right. There by the ice cream. Right. Yeah.
That water going to some.
Well, it has potential over there. And I don't think there's any direct connection, but there was.
I got to build stone and there's water going into our sewer system.
Yeah, I think there
I
was.
trouble with this.
Yeah, and that was the material today, you know, at the time. It was, but yeah. It's long term.
Looking at the total cost, like I said, the stormwater utility would be a monthly fee paid by utility users, so we kind of factor that out of the total cost. But for the other recommended alternatives, we're looking at about $1.2 million project there.
And that's really looking at a project that would ideally be funded with OPRA funding assistance. You know, that's kind of the rate we have to use it.
You said almost $6 is our meter. We only got about $2.50 something to take from customers. So I mean, it would add up, but it's not a big thing.
No, it's not. And we have an example of that. I think we shared that before, like maybe it's $15,000 to $20,000 a year. And it's not much. It's just enough to help you sustain minor improvements. Because now it probably comes out of your street department fund. You don't have a set aside just for stormwater.
We also have to do that to qualify for the whole thing.
And then we also want to put it
Right, and that's what that stormwater utility function for that.
Like Laura said, yep, the funding options we're looking at that would be that over grant to help fund part of that. And then CCMG also, I know Nancy was talking for a little while now, but CCMG will also, CCMG will help with road repair, and paired with that can be storm repair as well. So anytime roads are replaced or rehabilitated, the stormwater additional and stuff. That would be a 75% grant, and Elnora would just have to match up that.
Have to bring it back to $50,000.
Well, depending on the size and scope. So the CCMG projects are funded separately from OPRA. So if you wanted to do road resurfacing project, you could include some of the drainage improvements along that road with that, because that helps preserve the paper. So stormwater, you can apply around 1 or 2.
Right now?
Yes. Yeah, it doesn't have to have the SRF filter to apply.
So it's going to call you and I.
Any questions, Counselor? No, looks like you guys covered it pretty well.
Then what are your people doing there before, or what do you pay?
So I think you maybe talked to Chad recently, Chad, South Vernon.
Well, I have.
Or you didn't talk to Chad, okay.
Well, I didn't talk to, we can't find that paper that we voted on. I'm reading that, we got to get that from.
Well, I think actually it was in the minutes from last week, I don't know.
I ain't seen the paper with the lot streets and all.
Maybe it was discussed.
Yeah, I think the town,
It's discussed. But
Yeah,
I don't have anything back.
I'm not
And I'd like to
sure.
have something to
Yeah.
talk to them about it and what we need to do and what.
I can't remember if Travis maybe talked to you guys about that, or, let me see what I can find. Cause I think the town has kind of been looking at some of that as well. I don't know, Matthew maybe looked at some of it. I don't remember the details of it, but I can find out what we have and share it with you.
You know, we got match and stuff, and I don't want to lose that. I want to get these three points.
So we have to do that on July first, or our chance to apply for it,
Yeah.
us by July first. So we would want to get them that information 1 or 2 weeks before that.
I think that actually got delayed to maybe September
Oh,
first.
did it?
I think we got a little bit more time.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, but I'll be here.
Oh,
We'll
you
follow
follow
it.
it. How did they feel about doing that? Changing the name?
And
NDOT,
does
okay.
the date. Yeah.
Yeah, I all have to put them together.
So for the, Michelle, is there a public comment period following this?
There isn't really a true comment period, like, sometimes SRF is 10-day or something, I believe, but this one here is just, if you have any comments and concerns while we're here, before we adjourn the public hearing tonight, you can always make comments to the town and form, of course, or anything you might think of or any concerns after the public hearing here, so. If not, I'll go ahead and adjourn the public hearing at 6:16 PM. Thank you.
Okay, let's follow. Want to go out of that sheet, and you see you sign it.
Yours is right there.
Well, I couldn't go to that.
No, on this.
Kimberly Martin,
Is that you?
Yeah.
Bobby, Becky. That's all the business we can do without the public hearing for the water and sewer. Right? So, if nobody's got anything else to say, I guess we'll adjourn this meeting at this time. 2-0 adjourned at 6:18.